Imagine a world in which Noah Lyles comes and runs a world lead and crowns himself, but just a few days later, he loses to a man that has not run that distance in a year. And then days after that, goes to a low-key Continental Tour meet, runs a 10-0 in the 100 and comes second again. The world will go crazy. All your favorite TikTokers and YouTubers would be making hundreds of videos about it. iShowSpeed would be saying on his stream he can beat him. Debate show hosts will be talking about how Tyreek Hill can beat Noah Lyles in a race. It would be mental. But for Noah Lyles, that concept is fiction. Whereas for Letsile Tebogo, it's reality. So why does it feel like Letsile Tebogo, arguably the best male sprinting talent our sport has to offer, does not get held to the same standards that Noah Lyles does, despite Tebogo beating Noah Lyles at the most recent Olympics? Well, after beating Lyles, Tebogo was asked a question about whether or not he felt he could become the face of the sport off the back of this victory. And this was his response.
I can't be the face of athletics because I'm not an arrogant or a loud person like Noah. So I believe Noah is the face of athletics.
And it's ironic because what makes someone arrogant? Or makes someone perceived as arrogant, should I say? Because, moment of transparency here, Tebogo is my favorite sprinter on the circuit right now. Not just because of his running style and his story, but also his personality on the track. Since Usain Bolt, we have not seen anyone celebrate mid-race anywhere near the frequency to which Tebogo does it. Any race in which Tebogo is winning by a significant margin, he will let you know and he will let the guys that he's beating know. In fact, even if he's losing a race, he'll still be entertained about it mid-race. And all of those things combined is what makes him my favorite runner at the moment. Noah Lyles, on the other hand, if he were to pull off such a stunt anywhere near as much as Tebogo does it, he would be considered arrogant, cocky, which makes me think it's not just about the stunts that the athletes pull off on the track, because that's what made guys like Usain Bolt or like Letsile Tebogo now loved. It's more about the package that surrounds that, what they say off the track, what they do off the track. And whilst you see those antics from Tebogo, when it comes to interviews, when it comes to any form of verbal interaction, he seems like a very humble but driven athlete. Whereas Noah Lyles is always out there just saying stuff. And that's why, as Tebogo himself recognizes, Noah Lyles is the face of the sport, or at least of male sprinting, which comes with its perks, you know, money, fame, brand, all of those things. But from a strictly athletic perspective, Letsile Tebogo is in a fantastic position right now, because he can go and race against Noah Lyles. He can go and race on a Continental Tour Bronze meet and lose and not face the same pressure and scrutiny that Noah Lyles would. He saw that race as necessary to get himself ready for the London Diamond League, which is going to have a much more elite cast of runners. And I'm hoping he performs well in that race and challenges for the top spot. Noah Lyles, on the other hand, he can't afford to take such risks. Every race that he runs, he has an extreme pressure to win. We saw it in Monaco. The storylines were already being written about if he loses, what would that mean? Tebogo loses and it doesn't really matter as much. And the reason why I think this lack of scrutiny on Tebogo's performances is a good thing is that he can do the strategy that he wants to have ahead of World Championships to get himself in a prime position. Something that he's proven he can do well over the last few years, despite being such a young athlete. Every major championships, whether it's junior or senior for him, that he's been working towards, that he's been peaking for, he has peaked at, and he's produced phenomenal performances at, from 2021 all the way through to 2024. And I think he's going to do it again. I've said that I think he will win the 200 meters at the World Championships in Tokyo, and I stand by that statement. We shouldn't put too much emphasis on the times that we're seeing right now in July, because it is July. Normally, that is when the major championship would be occurring, but this year it's occurring in September, meaning that this year's July is another year's May. Tebogo and Lyles and all the other athletes have a lot of time to peak in the positions that they want to be come September, in both the 100 and the 200. And for me, what I'm going to find equally as interesting as that battle in the 200 between who we think will be Tebogo, Lyles, and Bednarek is how those three will be able to double up and how they'll be able to contest the 100. Because the form that Shane Thompson looks like he's in, it seems as if you're going to need to run a very fast, potentially historical time to beat him. And one thing we've learned in this post-Bolt era is that it is very difficult to execute your peak performances in the 100 and the 200 in the same season, let alone the same championships. Noah Lyles ran a 19.31, third fastest of all time in the 200 meters in 2022. And since then, he worked on his 60-meter start and became elite in that event, and he became a 100-meter sprinter, not only a 100-meter sprinter, but a 100-meter world champion. Given that the start of the race was what many people considered as Noah Lyles' weakness, even in the 200, you would think that increasing his performance towards the start of the race in shorter races like the 60 and 100 would make him even faster in the 200 and potentially challenge for the 1919 world record. But if you would think that, you would be wrong, because every action has an opposite and equal reaction. With Noah focusing on his start, his acceleration, that did improve that part of the race, but the speed, endurance, and execution towards the end of the race that carried him through so much in the 200 prior to 2023 was still there. I mean, at the end of the day, the only 200 meters races that he's lost since like the Tokyo Olympics was at the Paris Olympics. So he's still an elite 200 meter runner, but him improving his start didn't instantly make him a faster runner, because there's so many different aspects that contribute to that. And outside of the technical aspect, the endurance to do 2-3 rounds of the 100 meters and then 2-3 rounds of the 200 meters in one championships and potentially a relay later, the endurance required for that is extremely high. And that's why Tebogo's achievements last year at the Olympics were up there with the greatest we've ever seen. He ran a national record 9.8 in the 100 meters, an African record 5th fastest of all time 19.4, while celebrating across the line in the 200 meters, and a sub 43, the second fastest split in a relay of all time in the 4x4. That ability to produce under the pressure, despite the difficult schedule, in the biggest moments, across that range of distances by Tebogo, is the reason why I feel like come these World Championships, he will take away yet another successful medal haul. Make sure to follow my Instagram at LukeOkoTV and my TikTok at LukeOko, and subscribe to Oko TV for more content. Thanks for watching Oko TV. It's been real.